Hi friends! Welcome to my channel. My name is Sydney and this is Sydney Reads. So for this video, I'm going to tell you my top 5 favorite books of 2020. I was so excited to film this video because I've had a really good reading year this year, and all of the books that I'm going to mention in this video are books that I highly recommend. So if you're someone who is looking for recommendations for books to add to your 2021 TBR, look no further because I have a lot of great recommendations for you today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start this video. So the first book I want to talk about is my first 5-star read this year, and that is High Fidelity by Nick Hornby. And I first found out about this book because I was a huge fan of the movie High Fidelity starring John Cusack.
Congratulations, Laura. You made it to the top 5. Number 5 with a bullet. Welcome.
I got this book 2 years ago when I was getting over a breakup, and I decided to pick it up this year when I was getting over another breakup. This book is about a 30-year-old record store owner named Rob who just had a terrible breakup. Rob is a very flawed character. He is a very immature 30-year-old guy who doesn't want to grow up anytime soon. He's very self-centered. But this breakup really broke his heart, and it made him reflect on his actions and his past relationships. And in this book, we really witness Rob's character development. Throughout the book, he had this internal battle within himself, and he realized that it's time for him to grow up. And I feel like we all have those moments when we realize that maybe it's time for us to be an adult already. Maybe it's time for us to grow up. And I also really like the resolution in this book. It's not a very forced happy ending. It's a very realistic ending. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, not because it's my favorite book of all time. It's really not. It's just I can't say anything bad about this book. Yeah, that's why I gave it 5 stars.
Tired of everything else for that matter. But I don't ever seem to get tired of you. So
I think I know what you mean.
So the next book I want to talk about is probably my most unforgettable read of 2020, and that is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh. So this story is about an unnamed narrator in her early 20s, and she decided to sleep for an entire year in hopes that she will wake up to be a completely different person. So the main character in this book is just so tired of people. She's so tired of life. She only has one friend who she absolutely hates. Her parents are dead, and it's very clear that she's suffering from depression, but she's not acknowledging it, and instead she went on a self-isolation, and she decided to sleep her problems away for an entire year. For me, this book is not for everyone, but to be honest, I can relate to this in a very deep level because, like the main character, that's also how I try to deal with my problems. I just keep to myself and just isolate myself from everyone else. This is just such a sad story because it's obvious that our main character is just a lonely person and she needs help. I also read this back when quarantine was only starting, so it's kind of very timely because I can really put myself in the main character's shoes, and I feel like I was really there for her. And the whole time I was just rooting for her to get better. However, I only gave it 4 stars just because there's not much of a plot to this. There's not much of a character development either. In the end, she just kind of wakes up and starts living again. However, I consider this book as one of my new all-time favorite books because of my personal connection to it. Another book that I really loved this year is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Attwood. So I read this book back in November, and this is such a powerful novel. This is set in a dystopian country called Gilead, and Gilead is a totalitarian society in what used to be the United States. In this country, women are treated as properties and are divided into groups. So we have the wives, who are the wives of the commanders. We have the martyrs, who are the helpers, and of course the handmaids, whose main purpose is to bear children for the commanders. This novel is very important because it's such a reminder on why we still need feminism in this world. Because if we don't keep fighting for equal rights, Gilead can be a possibility, and that's very terrifying. This story will definitely stay with me for a very long time, and I'm looking forward to reading the second book, which is The Testaments. So the next book I have is probably the most light-hearted book in this list, which is saying a lot because it's a murder mystery. So this is Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. This book is a murder mystery between kindergarten parents, and it is mostly centered among the three main characters, who are Madeline, Celeste, and Jane. So at the very beginning of the story, we are told that someone died during the parents' trivia night, and throughout the book we are given clues on what exactly happened during trivia night. At the end of each chapter, there are interviews from the witnesses. But for me, the best thing about this book is the story between the parents, because who knew that kindergarten can be so dramatic, right? I love this book the same way I love watching reality shows, because it's just so fun to watch other people's drama, and it's not as heavy as other murder mystery books. If you've ever read a single Gillian Flynn book, you would know that her books are so tragic. This is more of a chick lit to me, and it makes me want to read more Liane Moriarty books in the future because I really love her writing in this one. So before I tell you my most favorite book of the year, I first want to give some honorable mentions, and I have two books in mind, and that is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine and Before the Coffee Gets Cold. So I really enjoyed those two books, and I highly recommend them. Even though they didn't make it to this list, I still really loved reading them this year. So now let's move on to my favorite book of the year, and that is Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. I love this book. I don't know where to start, but this book is about a bank robbery gone wrong, and it's supposed to be a bank robbery, but because the bank robber isn't very good, it turned into a hostage-taking scenario.
Doing what?
Robbing a bank.
Oh. What? I don't know what you mean by that. I'm robbing a bank because they got money here. That's why I'm robbing it.
No.
First of all, this book was described as comedy, but it's like, this is the saddest comedy I've ever read. This book tackled so many important topics, from suicide, mental health issues. It talks about how it's like to be a parent, or a child, or a husband, a wife. Moreover, it talks about what it's like to be a human being and how we're all just trying to figure out how to survive day by day. This book is so beautifully written. It's one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. I cried a lot. The best books for me are the ones that makes you empathetic to other human beings. And this book really does that. This book shows us what can possibly happen to someone's life for them to end up doing something terrible, and it just makes you understand other people and how we're all trying to figure out everything day by day, how we're all just trying to be the best person we can be for our loved ones. romance. And I just find that really beautiful, and I just love this book so much. I think that I really learned a lot from it. If there's one book that I highly recommend in this list, this is the one that I really recommend for everyone to read. So that's it, guys. Those are my favorite books of 2020. Please do let me know in the comment section below what are some of your favorite books of 2020 and what books are you looking forward to read next year. So that's it, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to me, and see you again on my next video. Bye.